25 minutes, I think.
Okay. Ready? We're rolling, and 3, 2, 1.
Hi, this is Paul Roberts with Ghostwatch Paranormal, and we're coming to you live from the Mystic Museum here in Burbank, California. I'll just have everybody introduce themselves really quick from the team.
Hey everybody, this is Kevin Oddie.
Hey guys, Johnny Matuk.
This is Andrew Saxman.
And we're here with the owner and proprietor of the Mystic Museum and the Bearded Lady on taking over Magnolia Boulevard here in Burbank, Eric Wessel.
How you doing?
Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Well, thanks for inviting me. Thanks for, actually, this would be the first podcast we had inside the museum.
Really?
Yeah, so.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we've been trying to get podcasts in here for a while, and just the aesthetics would be perfect, especially since you guys are filming part of it. So.
Yeah. This is, honestly, it's like a home away from us, just because we're surrounded by different occult things. I mean, you've got all sorts of different, we're literally surrounded by Ouija boards here. It's phenomenal. Right now they've got an exhibit with Twin Peaks and the X-Files, so we're looking at all sorts of David Lynchian kind of displays, and we're surrounded by Fox Mulder and Dana Scully, so it's kind of a perfect setting for the first podcast.
Yeah, we're a museum of mystical items first and foremost, but we do exhibits every 3 months, like the Twin Peaks, which is the Twin Peaks and X-Files, which is the one that's up right now. But yeah, primarily we are a mystic museum. We have Ouija boards, occult items. We have even the table that we're on right now is a former seance table.
Really?
Yes.
Do you know where it came from?
It's a Victorian era, and it's history-wise, it's very hard to track down if it's been used in seances.
Uh-huh.
But we have numerous mediums and psychics that came in here that hosted seances and do readings in here that all say the energy suggests that this has been used in the past for such things.
Because you've got an in-house psychic medium that comes in to do tarot readings and different things.
Palm readings, tarot readings. He does 3-card spreads, full readings every Saturday at the Mystic Museum. He's here regular, and then you could also book him for private readings that you could do directly inside the museum. So your reading comes with a visit to the museum.
That's fantastic. Okay, so we'll start at the beginning. How did the Bearded Lady and the Mystic Museum kind of come to life?
I first opened up a store in Burbank called Bearded Ladies Vintage and Oddities. So I started with my passion of antiques, which definitely ties into the paranormal to me because I believe that all these antiques have energy to them. And from there, I started a small collection of myself of Ouija boards and occult items and vintage Halloween fortune telling. And we were going to do a side room in the Vintage and Oddity store, but ultimately decided that it would make a great separate location. And so we scouted a location, and then, 4 years later, we had this.
It can't be anything more perfect because it's literally down the street from the Bearded Lady.
Yeah, it's like 2 blocks away. So I love that.
So a lot of the stuff, because that's how we discovered you, was at the Bearded Lady.
Yeah.
Did you already have a lot of your items in stock, I guess, from the other store?
Well,
or personal?
my own personal collection was about, I think 15, 20 Ouija boards deep, and then the vintage Halloween fortune telling things we had. It was pretty extensive, but not what you see now. Yeah, we've been collecting a lot more since we decided to open up.
And that's another question, because where do you find all this stuff? I mean, for both stores, it's like, how do you come across it?
Well, now for the museum, we actually literally go out and search as hard as we can. But then, for the most part, people who know what we already do approach us about either selling, or they tell us of a place where they saw something. And so a lot of times we get like tags or links to people selling stuff, and so we'll follow up with that. It's a lot of different things. We even had a Ouija board here that was from one of the ghost hunts that's in Hollywood. One of the ghost walks, I would say.
Oh, really? Not the one from the Magic Castle?
No.
Because that's incredible.
Yeah, Dearly Departed tour.
Okay.
They have their own little collection of stuff, and so one of the Ouija boards we tracked down actually came from their personal collection and was supposedly owned by a witch.
Really?
Yeah, from Salem, I believe, and
oh, wow.
I think it was a handmade board from the 60s. It's right there, actually.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So what would you say? I mean, with all the stuff that you've collected, or you still have, what's your favorite piece?
My favorite piece, as far as the Ouija boards goes, it's that framed 1940s board that's right there.
That's beautiful.
That has the devil imagery on it. I like it because one of my personal collection is all devil memorabilia. Anything that depicts the devil. I'm not a Satanist. I don't practice the original like that. I just
So we're safe coming to this.
it's kind of like a comic book character to me. People collect Spider-Man stuff. I collect the devil. It's kind of like the original comic book of the Bible where there's good versus evil.
Right.
I don't really practice any religion, but I believe that creation of that character is so profound and has so many different meanings to so many different people. That's very interesting to me.
So with the Mystic Museum, what do you guys find why people come in here the most? Is it asking questions? Is it they just want to check out the cool Ouija boards and art?
I say you got cross between two clienteles. One is the people that literally just want a day out and they want to see the Ouija boards is a big thing. It's definitely part of our pop culture right now, especially with the release of the new movies, the Ouija movies, which we did supply props for the
Did
last
you really?
movie. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So with that coming up, we definitely get people that are just looking to have a day out and experience something different. Then we have the people that are generally interested in the occult or witchcraft or Wiccan or anything like that come and do ask questions, or they want to know our personal experiences when it comes to the paranormal or tarot or anything like that. So that's why it's good that we have this resident medium too, because he also acts as our consultant whenever we have any kind of mysticism questions. He definitely is very knowledgeable, as well as befriending you guys, because you guys are also very knowledgeable about anything that comes with ghost hunting or locations. So
It's all smoke and mirrors.
What's like the most haunted thing in this museum that you would say?
well, during an investigation, and I believe it was the one we did with you guys here, the only actual public investigation we had here is that witch that's standing right there. It's a full-size papier-mâché witch. 1930s. It came off of the Paramount lot, so it was probably used as a prop in a movie from back then. So I believe during a Ouija board experiment, it was revealed that the ghost of that is actually haunted the place.
Oh, great.
Because we did get some responses, when we were doing EVPs and stuff, and I think some of the K2 equipment were going off around her. But just for a visual, she very much is like the Wicked Witch of the West, green face, about 4 foot tall, so she's Kevin height.
What? I
Um,
think she's taller.
Well, one of the reasons we got her too is, as far as collecting vintage Halloween goes, that is one of the creams of the crop right there.
Yeah.
Like anything paper mache, like the lanterns are highly collectible, and we found a full size piece,
Wow.
which is very rare.
How do you even come across something like this? Like this?
That was actually in a shop that was on Magnolia here too,
No way.
and it was their window display.
Really?
And I approached them about whether they wanted to sell their window display, and they told us they'd been approached a few times before by vintage Halloween collectors, who probably offered them a lot more, to tell you the truth. But they realized it was going into the museum, and they definitely liked the fact that it was going to be shown for years to come.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things with the museum is that you guys have built a huge community around it. I think just a couple of weeks ago you had a voodoo class, and I love the fact you guys are pushing the education part of the occult.
Well, yeah, and that was another reason why we opened up the store too, is to educate people on the myths on Ouija boards and the occult and witchcraft and even Satanism, which we were talking about earlier before we got started, and how it was featured on these shows just to make murders look a little more scary, and so they would throw in there that this person was into the occult and he is a Satanist, when the actuality was that that person had no idea what the hell they were talking about when it came to that specific religion. And so yeah, we wanted to let people know that the Ouija board is nothing to be scared of. The paranormal is nothing to be scared of. I mean, part of the hunt though is to get that little bit of fear, and that's fun. It's kind of like going on a roller coaster, I believe. But definitely wanted to educate people on all that kind of stuff and break some myths.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know when we do investigations, it's a little bit of that fear that feeds the energy that's at whatever location you're at. I mean, normally we're so used used to going out, so it's nice to actually have some new people that actually do kind of generate that nervousness that can kind of create moments.
Has there been anything that you like turned away? Like someone brought something really bad, and you're like, yeah, I'm not taking this.
I think one time we turned away a collection of dolls that they
Always
said
dolls.
were
That's a good start.
Always dolls.
They said that that brought them bad luck to their business, and I was like, well, why would you think my business would want that?
Are they trying to pay you to
Yeah,
take
yeah,
it?
yeah. But not only did they were trying to get me to buy them off them, so I was like, so I'm going to pay for bad luck? I was like, I don't know about that. So there's certain things that even people assume are bad luck, which we don't think are, that we would purchase, and we just know how to protect ourselves against things like that. You know, you definitely got the Palo Santo sticks, the sage, and the crystals, which we have crystals in the corner of the building. You know, all that kind of stuff. We sage every morning.
That's fantastic.
We do as much as we can just to physically protect ourselves.
There you go.
There we go.
The paranormal activity. And there's a lot of museums, right? But yours actually has actual haunted items.
Yes, and we specialize in buying and selling haunted items at the vintage and oddity shop. So right now we have 3 items in there right now.
Yeah, it's amazing over there. Just the amount of, it's kind of like embalming, mortuary, a lot of medical things.
Yeah.
It's got to have some energy attached to it.
There's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
How's the community like react to this shop being here? I mean, it's like,
Surprisingly well.
That's good.
I'd say because the community started slowly creeping into having more horror and related and Halloween related items in the community to begin with, and when we moved into Oddity Shop, that kind of triggered more of that to happen. So then more stores started opening up that were relatable to that. So this is the part of town or the part of LA that everybody goes to enjoy a day of the supernatural, the occult, Halloween, horror, all that kind of stuff. You could actually spend a whole day here and go from shop to shop to shop.
Now, when we first kind of were speaking with you, you actually had activity over at the Bearded Lady.
Yes.
I think Kiko was talking about seeing like a shadow person. And
Yeah. Well, she's a little bit of a sensitive, so she sees a lot more than I do, and she feels a lot more than I do. So she had a lot of experiences. I've had a few, you know, and that's kind of what started us into the paranormal, or pushing us a little more into, you know, being into that that subculture. But yeah, we had this haunted mask that every time we would hang it on the wall, you would hear pins dropping directly underneath it.
Really?
Every night, yeah. It's like, this is creepy.
Yeah, I would not want to lock up
We
the
had
shop.
we had a I think it was a Catholic child's Bible. It was like a little kit, came a Bible with a cross and a lot of things and snapped together, and we put it on the shelf. And now that wouldn't just fall off the shelf; it would get thrown off the shelf.
Really?
Yeah, and so that happened like 3 or 4 times. You know, we did all the debunking, put it on the shelf, jumping up and down, trying to see, like, blowing
sure.
on it to see, hey, how did this fall off? And then we tipped it off the shelf to see if it would fall directly on the ground, and it would fall directly underneath it. But when we would find it, it would be like 4 feet in front of the shelf.
Wow.
Yeah.
wouldn't you see a little kid in that back room too?
I think Kiko did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. Actually, no. There was actually one of our customers that was mediums. She saw a kid too.
Oh, really?
On the
Andrew.
topic of Ouija boards, because we're surrounded by them, beautiful by the way. On the topic of Ouija boards, what would you say to somebody who is afraid of them? Because I think there's a division between the people who will mess with them and those that will not.
Yeah,
so what would you
absolutely.
say to somebody who is averse to touching one?
I could tell you what I would say. I don't know if I represent everybody that is part of the museum, because I do have 2 partners, Stephanie and Kiko, who is my girlfriend. We all own it. We all have our different experiences with it, and we all have our different opinions on it. I would say it's nothing to be scared of. It's what is in the category of a divining tool. It is what's used in order to contact the afterlife, much like a pendulum or dowsing rods. And how I kind of explain it to people that are in a different religion in their faiths is it's much like praying. You would kneel and pray to somebody that passed away in order to contact them, or hopes that they would hear you. It's the same exact thing, except for I'm using a tool. it's all about knowing how to use it and how to protect yourself against it. I'm not scared of them at all. I don't even believe that I need to do the proper steps to protect myself when I use them. I do just for the sake that it is my business if I use it here to make sure, we do not keep a portal open. But I think I personally put up a wall to protect myself against anything actually, being demonic, which I don't think that's a very rare case when it comes to using a Ouija board. And this is the number one thing that I say to people. It's much like a chef's knife. You could use a chef's knife to create culinary masterpiece that people taste. This is amazing. Or you could use it to stab somebody. It all depends on what you use it for. It is just a tool. It itself is not evil. It's the person that's using it.
Kevin, isn't it interesting though? Because like when Lorraine Warren, when we went to visit her, she was talking about how most demonic cases, the worst cases, had to involve the Ouija board. I mean, remember that?
Yeah, she did bring that up. I mean, to me, like everybody said, it is just a tool. A screwdriver's just a tool too, but using it, you can still slip and accidentally stab yourself in the hand. So, it can work either way. I mean, you may be using it for the right reasons, and then all of a sudden some little accident happens and something bad does come through. And, the thing is, having enough knowledge about these to be able to recognize when that does happen and know how to take the proper steps after that.
Yeah, what I always say is, it's always good to speak out loud when using it. Start the experiment with, I don't want any negative thing coming through. I don't want any of this. You speak that out loud. And then end it with, goodbye, everything that is here has to go home now. I believe that is a good rule of thumb, which it's kind of like the general rule of thumb that everybody really knows about.
For sure. I mean, that's kind of what we do when we do investigating.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of go into a location, you open yourself up, but then at the end of the investigation, you kind of like say, hey, thanks for the good time, and y'all gotta stay here. We're leaving. No tag-alongs, because that's a risk.
We were investigating too. Remember, Eric, we had someone react to using the Ouija board.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how real that was,
Yeah.
but that was pretty dramatic.
It was scary. I mean, I think also there was a direct message to me during that experiment.
Oh, no way.
There is an entity that haunts the oddity store that does not like me. And during an investigation we had there that was not open to the public, it was a private one we did, it did come out that the person just thought I was evil, and that he just didn't like my lifestyle. And so a few days later, when we did the investigation with you guys, a public investigation, when the Ouija board started using it, it said my name, and it says, walk towards Jesus.
It spelled that out?
It spelled that out.
Good God.
It said, Eric, walk towards Jesus. And I was like, and the funny thing is, I took it literally, and I thought, oh, is it one of my many Jesus statues? Because we also sell, like everything there, any religious memorabilia. So we did have statues, and we did have crucifixes, and we have the sick hall kits, which more well known as exorcism kits. We have those in the shop, and so I was like, well, where do I need to go? What do I need to look at? But I think it was more of the I need to follow a faith type of comment, and that's exactly what came out in the investigation we had previous.
And I believe during that investigation, was it your name, Johnny, that got called that we picked up on audio?
Yeah, I did, and in this room actually, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a great audio.
And don't you get orbs and stuff? You catch them all the time on your security cameras.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy too because it's so easy to tell the difference between a dust ball and a flare on a security camera because you see them the whole time. They're everywhere, and you have 4 different cameras running at once, and so it's so easy to pick out the one that looks completely different and is actually flying differently towards not the breeze. It's actually all the dust balls are going one way. But this thing is going one way, then back another way, then up another way, and then it keeps on moving around. So I would, especially after every time we do something, I bet you if we looked at it after we did this podcast, there's going to be some things
Some
moving
activity.
around. Yeah.
Has anything ever? And I hate to throw it out there, but has anything ever followed you guys home?
No, I mean, so before we had the museum, we did one of our first Ouija board classes and experiments, and then also a conversation on Ouija boards. So people, we could have a little debate. And Kiko had a very bad experience where a well-known entity was trying to come through the Ouija board. But
Really?
this was after there was 3 of us using it, and there's groups of 3 all using, about 4 groups of 3. And then I got up to use the bathroom. As soon as I got up, and remember how I says I put up a protective shield
Right,
already.
right.
As soon as and she does it. She's open. Things just come to her.
Uh-huh.
As soon as I get up to use the bathroom, the plant just started moving around and started spelling out this name that you're not even supposed to say out loud.
Oh wow, which is good. Yeah.
It's I will spell it. You can spell it Z-O-Z-O.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
and-
that one.
Okay, commercial break.
So, and she freaked out. We did some cleansing after that, and then that night, what's funny, because we used my personal Ouija board collection for that, we were going to bring all the Ouija boards home, and we decided, let's drop them off at the shop before we go home.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then, and before we even, after we did the cleansing at the place, we decided to even do cleansing at the shop and make sure nothing came home. And then we went home and showered and did all that stuff.
Oh, that's
so.
great. That's fantastic. Do you guys have any more Ouija board classes planned coming up in the future?
Actually, we're going to be doing a Ouija board divination type of class at Midsummer Scream.
Oh, get out!
Yeah, the Halloween convention in Long Beach in July, end of July. So we'll be doing a class with our resident medium. We are actually doing a 3-course class this month, every Sunday, and that's also a divination class. So it's also bone throwing,
Really?
it's tarot card reading, it's pendulums, it's all that kind of stuff. And you could just check our webpage regularly. We are Mystic Museum, the Mystic Museum on Instagram, and all the links are there.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, there's no snakes involved because I know at the voodoo class there was photos of snake.
Yes, the Mystic Dylan, who is our resident medium and psychic and practicing witch, he actually has 2 snakes he owns, and he does use them, and it's part of his hoodoo practice.
Gotcha.
I think Paul's trying to say if you need a sacrificial person, we have Kevin here to kind of help out with that.
Yes.
I'm always the one getting thrown under the bus.
Well, you can
I feel the
you can-
love.
You can
That's a
stand
yes.
up. You
That's
can
a
stand
yes.
up underneath it and not get it.
The ongoing joke is that Paul is trying to kill Kevin throughout the whole investigation journey here, so
Slowly.
it's going to happen one of these days.
Yeah, so if I ever come up missing, yeah, come check on me.
Well, the plus about that is you could just give him some clear evidence